Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to Geek in a Closet. And so recently, I managed to create a bunch of these blood effects, and I've actually posted up a few pictures on my Instagram. And following that, I've actually received a couple of requests asking how I actually made these blood effects. So this video is basically to just show you guys how I'll be creating some of the blood effects my way. And so before that, I would like to say that I'm not a professional when it comes to creations of dioramas or props and whatsoever, because I'm still in a learning process. I'm still observing like the masters from the Dio Structure group on Facebook. If you guys are not a part of that group, you gotta join them, especially if you're interested in when it comes to diorama making. And of course, I've actually learned a couple of techniques and whatsoever from the ACBA group. so most of the time I'll actually be just observing those masters creating art, and I'm just, most of the time I'm just too intimidated to actually post up anything anyway. So yeah, now without further ado, let's get to the video. Now, as you can see right before you, here are different types of blood effects, of course, and I would actually really recommend for you guys to actually make like a buttload of different types of a variety of these effects. And before I even began to start on these blood effects, I actually googled like a couple of images looking for blood splatters and blood splattering effects and whatsoever to actually give me some inspiration to start on this project right here. So it all began with like these normal looking ones, and then it actually led to more of these flowery looking ones, which is basically associated to gunshots most of the time anyway. And then after that, it led to one of my personal favorites, the slashing motion right here. So what actually led to this one is basically from here, and from this one effect, and basically during the taking of photos and whatsoever, it just doesn't make sense to me for the sword to not have some blood on it as well once the slashing was done. Now, the first thing you need to create these blood effects is basically wax paper, as you call them in the States, and what we call it here is baking or cooking paper, non-stick baking or cooking paper in Malaysia right here. And it works gloriously because the hot glue that you're gonna use does not stick at all to this paper. So to just give you a rough idea of how it looks like something like this. Yep, there you go. And it doesn't stick at all, which is great. Of course, as mentioned, you need a glue gun right here with some hot glue. You need, for me, I prefer a darker shade of blood, as you can see right here. So I actually use red and black acrylic paint. This is not exactly very expensive. This is Reeves, and this is Marie's. Yeah, Marie's right here. As you can see on the blood effect, it's actually there's actually some blood, some black on it, and not exactly a glossy red. And I actually noticed like a lot of other creators, they actually made their blood effects super bright, which does not make any sense to me. But of course, it's a matter of perspective. And yeah, this is what I prefer. So yeah. So the first thing that you want to do is to lay down your wax paper right here, and basically you're ready to go. So let's get you examples of what we have actually created today, and it only takes like a few seconds for the hot glue to dry up. And basically what you can do is just peel them off of the wax paper like so. And let me just test them out. Yep, this is dry already, so you can just peel them out, and there you have it. And you will be getting all these spider webs and sticking to your blood effects over here. Basically it's just excess hot glue right there, and it's very easy to clean up. You just basically gotta pluck them out like so. Just gotta pull them out and just clean them with your fingers, and that should be fine right there. But however, notice that all of these thinner parts right here, you gotta be extra careful when pulling, because these thinner parts will definitely break off. So what I actually kept in mind when I was making these blood effects is to actually try to maintain a significant size, so that it's not too thin, and it will be easier to break off when I'm actually cleaning these blood effects right here. And the rest of them are also dry already, so we shall proceed with the painting. So I've laid down my newspaper together with the blood effects right there, and here's some glue. I'm not take note that you're not going to be using a lot, so basically I've just used a drop of red and a drop of black. So what I'm going to do in my palette right here is just to basically mix the colors. I don't need any water because I don't have to black wash it or whatsoever. All I need to do is just basically just dry brush it like so, and you'll get this sort of like a dirty red kind of look to it, and I feel that that's actually okay already, because you can always touch it up. If, let's say, if the blood is not red enough, you just add like purely red, or if it's too bright for you, just add like a black, and that's about it. So let's start with this particular blood effect right here. As you can see, it sticks fairly well onto the hot dried up glue right here. It doesn't really matter in the beginning for it to look this way, because you're constantly going to add like more and more blood anyway. So basically you gotta wait for it to dry, and then come back to it in a bit to cover up all these translucent areas over here. So for an example, as you can see, you can actually tell from the translucent areas still, and I normally try to cover that up, but some people, depending on preferences, some people actually like this translucent look to the blood effect, but I actually prefer it to be covered up. So what I normally do is wait for it to dry and then cover it up afterwards. Now, depending on the depending on the color that you are actually looking for. Like for example, most of my shots actually require a more serious uh, look to it. Like for example, I use a lot of Arkham Knight or Batman figures. So basically, I would assume that it requires a much more realistic look. Unless, for an example, if I'm using like an animated look, I mean animated characters or animated figures or whatsoever, and you're actually planning to use some blood effects, I would assume that it's a much more redder, a much more vibrant red that you can actually use for these blood effects. So that's it for my video, guys, to actually show you how I made these blood effects. And if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments down below, and I would definitely try to answer them as best as I can. And once again, I mentioned that I'm not an expert and whatsoever, so you can actually still see like a little bit of flaws on this blood effect right here. And I would really love to hear from you guys as well, if you do have any other types of techniques and whatsoever to create these blood effects, and what are your preferences for creating these blood effects as well. And I would love to hear them. So once again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.